Hey everyone, welcome to today's video on language acquisition and language learning. First, we will look at the definition of each and then proceed to know the differences. Beginning with language acquisition. Language acquisition is the natural assimilation of languages by means of intuition and subconscious learning. This means learning language without following any systematic rules or definitions or practices. And here, two words are important: intuition and subconscious. While intuition means a feeling or understanding that is making you to believe that something is true without the need for explanation that why it is true. So learning over here is not bound by any requirements that needs to be fulfilled. It is just happening. Same like breathing. It is also just happening. You don't need to learn how to breathe in and breathe out. And this acquisition is subconscious learning. For example, you are passing by a road with headphones on and there is a dog that is following you. But unless someone tells you that the dog is behind you, you won't be aware of his presence. Similarly here, learning of the language is taking place. But you don't come to know it because you are unaware of it. And it is only through this process that we learn our mother tongue. Then language acquisition is the product of real interactions between people in environments of the target language and culture, where the learner as an active player develops his communicative ability. Over here, the point of importance is environment. And these lines simply means that language acquisition takes place when there is a natural environment. Home happens to be the best example of this, where the learner is among the native speaker of the targeted language. And being among them, the learner slowly develops their ability to acquire knowledge and form conversations. Therefore, natural or social environment forms the precondition to language acquisition. Now, language learning. Language learning refers to the analysis and study of language as a system. Primarily, it is in the written form. The objective is to understand the structure of the language and produce knowledge about it. Now we know that the mother tongue is mostly acquired, while the second language is mostly learned. Therefore, whichever language we are learning, it is following a proper structure or rules. So the learner has to go through proper practice, efforts to learn a language. He is required to grab and use pen and paper, learn vocabulary, grammar and many more. And therefore we can say that he is conscious about this process, or he is aware of what he is learning. The most suitable example of this is the school. The teacher in the school teaches students. This is the traditional approach to study of languages for centuries and is still today practiced in high schools worldwide. Blending together knowledge of what we have just known, let's see some differences between language acquisition and language learning. In language acquisition, the learner is following the subconscious mind. Means he does not notice that the learning is happening. Whereas in language learning, a thorough conscious process is involved and the learner is fully aware of him learning a language. Then, the language acquisition follows an informal way of learning. Means there is no need of books, there is no need of grammar books, or there is no need of instructions. While in language learning, a formal way is followed, where language is learned properly through books, grammar, with well-directed instructions. With this, we can say that language acquisition is following a natural way, while language learning is following an artificial way. Then, in language acquisition, learner needs a natural environment. So, learning is something which we cannot get via hereditary. Means, if a father knows a language, it does not mean that the son will automatically know it. This means the son will need to have a proper natural, native or social environment in order to acquire knowledge. And in language learning, the need is of proper approaches and methodologies. with the use of which the teacher moves on to the process of making his students proficient in a language. This is what comes under formal environment. In language acquisition, focus is on the communication. Now, as discussed, if the child is more in his natural environment, he will obviously develop social connections with friends and family. And it is not possible to keep mum with friends. So, the language is unknowingly playing a supportive role in conveying their emotions through communication. And in language learning, more than communication, form is focused. Means, a structured way is followed to learn. For example, while writing, a child is first taught how to use a subject, then verb, and then the object. Then, faster learning is achieved in language acquisition. Now, if we are with friends, we don't need any rocket science to communicate. And being among same age group, our learning is faster. While following all the forms, rules, techniques of language, the language learning turns out to be a slower process because the child ultimately gets bored in this learning. In language acquisition, we don't need to stretch our mind and learn anything. It is automatically or unknowingly learned. Therefore, it is called passive learning. And the reverse process follows in language learning, where learner is actively involved. Then, in language acquisition, various concepts are created in mother tongue. Whereas, language learning can be created in both mother tongue and second language. In language acquisition, language is in use or language is in a practice because it is communicative. In language learning, language is first analyzed before it is used. Therefore, it is theoretically oriented. While language acquisition is implicit because it does not affirm any procedure to learn a language. Whereas, in language learning, knowledge is explicit because it openly lays down procedures to learn a language. And from this discussion, we can say that language acquisition is automatic and where priority is given to spoken language. On the other side, language learning is learned, technical, and where priority is given to written language. There are some 5 to 6 stages of language acquisition that need our attention. It starts when the baby is born till he dies. This means language acquisition is not a course which will end after a certain period of time, but it continues. Language teaches us new things every day that are not visible to us, still we are acquiring it. So, come let's see the stages. The first stage is cooing. It is a soft murmuring sound produced by a baby in his initial 5 to 6 weeks. This is followed by babbling. Babbling starts between 6 to 8 months. Basic sounds are produced like baba, bobo, dada, mama, etc. Then comes one-word stage, also known as holophrasic stage. It is developed around 1 year, when one word is used to convey wants and emotion. Some examples are eat, mom, go, mine, etc. This is followed by two-word stage, commonly occurring between 18 to 24 months, when child produce simple sentences. The fifth stage is multiple word stage or telegraphic stage. It happens between 24 to 30 months. At this stage, child lacks grammar but is trying to say multiple words in a sentence. Last is later multiple word stage or language stage, coming after 30 months, when grammar is emerging and the sentences are longer and complex. So in this way, the language is gradually learned. With this ends today's video. I hope you enjoyed my presentation. To get more stuff like this, stay connected to our channel. Thank you.